a bit. And that's just part of the markets, part of how they work. And when they suck, they suck. And right now they still suck. So that's all getting used to. And, it's kind of, what you, as the life of a trader. I don't know. When Connie gets her, I'll ask her. There won't be any notes for a while anyways, but what's back? What's up? Minnesota is in the house, my brother. What's up, man? So, we'll see. It's always a challenge. And again, if it was easy, the whole world would be sitting home making cake, right? I mean, that's part of the assignment. What Mr. Phelps, if you choose to accept it, and that's always a thing that we have to deal with the issues of the day. And of course, this was a day they had every opportunity to stick them, and they found support and bounced pretty hard, in relative terms. Okay, that's pretty easy to understand. Look, that's part of the business. That's what you do. Okay, and it's like I said, it's not the fun part, but it is part. Okay, and that's what you always have to remember. Okay, is that we are, the reason you get big returns when you get them is because you suck up the crap when they don't come. Okay, so anyways, here we are, and like as I said, there was quite a recovery at the end of the day, or pretty much. I guess we looked at it on a shorter time frame, real quick, and pretty much when they bottomed about 10 o'clock this morning, they kind of found a little bit of a bottom, and they started to charge back forward. I think we'll see that. If we look at any of the markets, they're all pretty similar. They kind of found equilibrium or a bottom and took off. Okay. Again, not unusual, not totally unexpected. Again, maybe bigger than one might have thought, but certainly happens on a regular basis. And, look, there will be a time when the actual trend will be, it will hold and it will extend for a much longer period of time. But until then, we have to just, do our thing. And that's what it always comes down to, is being prepared. I mean, this morning when we were day trading, there was really no trades except for gold, which unfortunately I don't trade, during that class, because I got to, it's a COMEX product, which I don't pay for. So I have to go to a completely different platform. And anyways, that was 2 good trades in gold, but that was about it for today. Okay. And again, that's just, understanding, what is available to you and what you can actually trade. And of course, this week we expect it will be very quiet and very slow. I don't see, as I said over the weekend, the only thing I would see is if it's busy, it's going to be down. Okay. It won't be busy if it's up. It will be busy if it's down. Now, I'm not saying it's going down. I'm saying that if we see a lot of action, it will be because we're going lower. Otherwise, it'll probably just drift into, Friday, Thursday, because Friday we're closed. So we're in a shortened week, holiday week, Christmas. And, this is what you have to, be prepared for as well. The actual overwhelming selling pressure overnight was kind of unusual. And I guess they're blaming it on, of course, the Build Back Better plan that didn't get through. And of course, that plan should be called Trash America, not Build It Back Better. Certainly, we are seeing an overwhelming amount of crap that does not benefit the middle class. Okay, and if you're among the middle class, you cannot be thrilled with all these things that are happening because they're not in our best interest. Okay, they are actually in destruction of the middle class. Okay, but again, that's just what we're seeing, and this is the spending has got to stop. The economy is starting to turn over and is a little uglier. And, if it continues to get ugly, the Fed's got to raise, right? There's a couple of choices that they can make. They either have to hike rates, okay, or they have to open up the wells again and let us become a net exporter in oil again. Well, we all know what I think. I know where I stand. I know where I stand. I don't know where Nail stands, but I think that would be the more prudent thing to do, because the environment, we are already the greenest environment here in the world, and not that we don't want to get greener, but I think you have to do it at a pace in which you can actually accomplish that. And there is no way that we can accomplish it at the speed they're trying to get it done. It cannot be done. It's impossible. It's rather a dumb task that we're seeing attempted here. Now, of course, depending on where you sit, you can look at it in many different ways. But the markets, are affected. But we're not seeing, much. But we have to always ask the question: are we up because of inflation? Are we up because we're doing fundamentally well? I think there's a very fine line there. I don't think that there is a lot of things that are going very well here at the moment. I think you have, many problems, including the cost of food and the cost of gas, the cost of energy. I don't know, we're lucky so far that we haven't had a real bad winter, because, I got my heating bill and it was substantially higher than usual, and it's been a very mild winter. Can you imagine if it was a very cold winter? Again, these are all easily solved problems if we would choose to solve them. A few minutes, not long. Okay, are you doing notes then, honey, or do you want Ken to do them? Okay, let me know, because he offered. Okay, Connie's got him, Ken. Thank you, brother. So, look, at the end of the day, we have, a market, the market that is very indecisive, and it's still certainly, holding up towards some support, although we did reverse the Nasdaq today. But, there's not any real consistency, because you're seeing a ton of stuff out there that is not very healthy. Okay. It is not, we're not seeing a healthy environment overall. And I'm not talking about, the green energy. I'm talking about from an economic standpoint. The farmers are going to start to struggle if they're not already struggling. There's already a fertilizer shortage. Okay. The cost of energy is ridiculous. Okay. And of course, you may not think so, but it takes a lot of energy to run a farm. Okay. And not to mention just your driving, and if you're in a lower income bracket, think of the percentage of costs of fuel compared to what you make. Now, it's one thing if you make a good living. What if you're on borderline? The extra dollars that you're spending for fuel, for heat, it could make it. You might have to make a difference if you want to drive somewhere, if you want to eat. Okay. And I don't want to make it dire, but conditions are relatively dire in general, because the cost, you're getting smaller portions for more money. I mean, that's really what you're getting here. And I think those are things that can be problematic, in the future. And I think, if you look at the general population, this is a very dramatic effect. And the markets have not reflected yet. But again, we have to remember that the markets may, because of lack of places to go yet, and the high inflation, that maybe we're just seeing a natural inflate of nothing. So it's always an interesting. Now, we don't really, excuse me, we don't trade on fundamentals, so that's never an issue. But it's just when you look around at the bigger picture, you can see that there are certainly some issues out there. Okay. And, it's not a left or right issue. It's an American issue. Okay. This is not a political issue. Now, this is an American issue. And this is, you can make your case for whatever you want here, but you are seeing, a lot of issues that can create bigger problems, even from my vaping products, which are illegal, but they can't be shipped. I mean, that to me, that's kind of stupid. Okay. But again, who am I? You have, the beat down of small business, making it hard for them to exist. And, these are things that we have to be concerned about from a country, because, if you make people poor, it doesn't do well. My vaping products, yes, they can't be shipped anymore. So, they're legal, and I can't find. I had a place I loved in South Carolina, which they won't ship, and so it makes it a problem, and because they're not allowed to, and it's hard, and these are businesses. I mean, you're destroying. I'm trying to vape. I'm using them personally. I don't sell them. I use them myself. Okay, but you're taking away the food. Well, so what? I'm a jackass. But welcome back. I'm happy you're back. Should I go back to smoking or vaping? What should you prefer? Okay. Which would you prefer? I'm one or the other. Okay. So again, when you look at the economy and where we're lacking, and you're lacking in supplies, you're lacking the ability to do things. Okay. Oh, my brother's here. What's up, Mr. Heck?
Hello, Mr. Harwitz. How are you?
What's up, brother?
Not much. Kudos to Joe Manchin.
Joe, man, I told you.
Kudos to Joe Manchin. And, very interesting. I was just reading a piece that an interview with him, and he kind of confirmed what we already know. And, he basically said that he had good discussions with the president, but the president's staff is the problem. If Biden has a brain in his head, he'll fire his entire staff and start from scratch.
Yeah, but you said something that's very difficult to believe.
Right. Well, I know if he has a brain in his head.
Right. I mean, I think he has to go see the wizard, and
But it's very interesting that validates. There's a lot of conjecture around who's pulling the strings in there, but that really validated for me, what we kind of already knew. But I think, listen, I think he's going to go down in history as someone who kind of saved his party from making a tragic mistake.
It could be. Listen, I think he did the right thing, because again, you cannot bankrupt the country. Okay, which is where we're headed anyways. But you cannot. You mentioned, I think it was you who said it last week, that these products, the projects that they're talking about aren't even ready anyways. They won't be ready for years.
And it's just money going into that black hole in DC,
Right.
By the way, Musk said it best, when he was going back and forth with Elizabeth Warren, when she said we have to tax the rich. And he said, I'm going to pay $12 billion in this year in taxes. Don't spend it all in one place. Oops, you already did.
All right. I mean, now this is what I don't understand, and why. Yeah, he called her Karen. That's correct.
Yeah,
what I don't really understand. Okay, maybe you can explain to me. Okay, the rich pay the majority of taxes. Okay, they paid a huge amount, and everybody wants to point to, well, he didn't pay on his personal return. And I said, change the tax code, and you won't have a problem. But
that's exactly what Manchin is saying now. Rewrite the bill and change the tax code, and I'm all in.
Right. I mean,
and get rid of all this nonsense, right?
I mean, did President Trump not say it better than anybody? He said, look, I'm not evading, I'm avoiding, or whatever. I'm not evading, I'm avoiding, because that's the law.
By the way, any good accountant will tell you that's his job, to avoid, not to evade.
So why not change the tax code? I mean, the tax code is, I think someone told me it's 70,000 pages long.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Simplify it. You put a flat tax on it, and you get rid of the entire IRS. How many billions do you save there? The one good thing is that in this bill, they wanted to put $89 billion into the IRS. What a ridiculous thing to do.
I mean, the Treasury has a record amount of cash in it, or did.
It's all about control. I mean,
Naturally.
he sees through it. He sees through it, and I applaud him. And it's the only one with a brain there. And at least the thing is, he said rewrite the tax code. Now, the senator from Arizona, she doesn't want the taxes to raise taxes at all. So they're between a rock and a hard place. They cannot get 50 votes. That's the bottom line.
Right.
They cannot get 50 votes. And by the way, next year, after these midterms, I'd say the way things are going. Listen, when historically the midterms are bad for the ruling party, but when the ruling party doesn't deliver on anything, they lose their base. So
Right.
they're in real trouble. I mean, half the country's not voting for them no matter what they do, but they're losing their own people.
Right. I mean,
So,
listen, I don't understand, the things that they talk about, because it makes no sense from a logic standpoint. Okay. I mean, again, we know the rich pay more tax.
Politics and logic are mutually exclusive.
That's true. You're right. So you walked them out. Good for you, my dear. I'm happy to hear it. You'll be able to eat those dark chocolates if they ever show up. I got it to the right address this time, though. Anyways, so you got any bitches today?
No, holiday season. I just have one thing to say about holiday season, and it's the way I've always kind of looked at it. I said, with family and friends, we're a very materialistic society. And, everyone, we're trained as kids. It's all about the gifts. But presence, and that's presence with a CE, not with a TS, is the most important thing for families and friends. And your presence in their lives is the gift that keeps on giving. So keep that in mind this holiday season. That's really kind of more important than and this isn't a time of the year to bitch. It's a time of the year to be thankful and to embrace our friends.
Thankful for what should I be thankful for? That
the family, your health.
The tax code,
your health.
The tax code is broken.
No.
I'm thankful every day for my health.
Right, health, family,
and that's what you have to be,
and friends, and that's what you have to be thankful for.
You should celebrate.
Everything else is secondary. We can think about that all year long.
I disagree. I think you should be that every day.
That's what I said. I said presence,
every day, not just
every day.
Right.
And that, the materialism that that this time of the year, everyone, my wife and I went out, we had to get some stuff this weekend, and it's like insane out there. And you know what? The stores don't have stuff in them. It's just amazing. It's just, but you know what? It was a good time because we were together and we did it together, and those are good things. So that should be every day. And
you do that every day. That's part of it. That's
do it every day. But you know what? This is a time of the year where the whole family tends to come together. So it's extra important. Just being there.
Well, I'm there every day. So I don't, I don't the difference between any day, because I spend as much time as I can with my family on a regular basis. So as you do. So, again, I don't look at it the same way, because, I think that's, that should be an everyday occurrence in your life as often as you can. And, you do the best you can to take care of family and friends. Again, it's just like trying to buy presents for my kids. We're not from the school of wait, we need something, we buy it. And so it's always hard to buy something, because we celebrate every day just being around and being together. So, but hey, it's all good. We all got our opinions, which is good. And that's the free America we still kind of have. So, but holidays are great, and they're great to get together. But again, I look at every day as a holiday, because every day that I get to see people and be around, is to me is a good thing. But anyways, so markets had quite an interesting day today, and what did you make of that action today?
I think that they sold the markets because of the uncertainty in Washington and everything that happened over the weekend. Is kind of a disappointment. More spending isn't going to come into the market right now. The fiscal stimulus looks like it's in danger. But this is a very choppy time of the year, and I expect, swings now, and liquidity is going to start drying up. I think last week we had the Fed meeting, we had the triple witching, and basically we're in holiday mode now. Santa Claus rally eluded the market today. We'll see if it occurs later in the week. I don't know. Very choppy action, very choppy, and the liquidity is going to dry up. That's my.
It was a pretty strong recovery from where it was. Though. That was what I thought.
Yeah. It's just I think listen, markets zoom up and down when liquidity dries up.
Right.
I would say a lot of people are taking this week and next week off.
I couldn't agree more, because if I was still on the floor, I wouldn't be here. I'd be on vacation, because this is the time that the trading desks are trading with skeleton crews, and buy them.
It's also the time of the year that you can get yourself in a lot of trouble.
Right.
Unless you're taking profits, or you're or doing something tax-wise that you need to do. It's a good time to not, be participating that much.
Right. I agree. That I agree. Where's my football picks, Mr. Bitch No Christmas card? If you want me to keep prices low, I can't send out Christmas cards. Anyways,
Brady got shut out last night. That's a shame.
No, I got shut out. I had that was a huge game for me.
That was a shocker. Huh.
All they had to do was win, not cover.
Right.
But hey, listen, I got knocked out of my survivor pool after 15 weeks.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, what are you gonna do? It's a
I might not. Brady goose egg is not
the first time since 2015 and the first time ever at home, I think.
Yeah.
So
surprising.
So anyways, I don't know. So we got markets that are they suck. I mean, the action is not good for what we do. It's too choppy.
Well, Bubba, the economy sucks.
I know.
So why shouldn't the market suck?
No, without question, the economy sucks. We're in a position again that they could do a lot of good, but they don't. And this is when you're trying to get, again, I go back to the same thing every week. Universal basic income. That's the goal, which is not what we want.
That took a real shot in the arm on Fox News when Manchin came on yesterday. That took a real shot. He saved a lot of things. He really did.
I know. I'm saying.
We'll look back at it as a watershed event, because he basically stood up. He didn't give in to the pressure, and there was a lot of pressure on him. And I think that the comments that came, what I thought was amazing? I thought it was amazing, and I'll say it here because she said it on TV. They had Ilhan Omar on all the network news saying Manchin is bullshit. Could you imagine that? That's a congressman. So a congressperson. It's amazing to me. That was amazing.
Did you hear what she says about the Jews? I mean,
yeah, of course.
Well, I mean, listen, would you expect anything different from that imbecile?
Well, I mean, that could be a bitch too. They interpreted what Trump said as anti-Semitic, which was not anti-Semitic. Trump said that he couldn't believe that American Jews don't stand behind Israel. And they said he's anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
That's an anti-Semitic statement, which is, to me, I mean, I'm Jewish. To me, that's insane.
Right. The only president to finally move the capital to Jerusalem.
It's insane. That's an insane interpretation. That's about as stupid as using lumber as an example that inflation is transitory.
Right. Well, we knew that. The minute they opened their mouth and said it was transitory, we immediately squawked and said that was BS, and it is. And
they used the most illiquid commodities futures market as an example. I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah.
By the way, Mohammed Al-Arian said over the weekend that the transitory call was the worst call a central bank has ever made in history.
Yep. Actually, that was last weekend, but you are 100%.
Yeah. I mean, that's when I read it this weekend. How's that?
You're 100% correct. He did say that, and he meant it, and it is.
He's right. I mean,
of course he's right. Listen, he's a very smart man, and Bill Gross, his mentor, was the smartest guy in the world before he got a little goofy. But he broke more pits in Chicago than any other single human being.
Right, right. Well, he's a smart economist, and you know what? He tells it like it is, and he says it like he sees it. And you know what? Even look, Larry Summers is a Democrat. He's another one. He's been saying, "Hey, you guys, wake up."
Once a
Wake
week.
up. I don't love the guy. He wasn't a great Treasury Secretary, in my opinion. But you know what? At least he's an economist who's reading the writing on the wall for the last couple of months. He's been saying it. They finally came around. But you know what, Bubba? What they did last week, all right, because we haven't talked since the Fed meeting. You know, we haven't had a Monday night meeting. The Fed meeting was very interesting because, you know, what did they forecast? 0.9% Fed funds rate in 2022, 1.6% Fed funds rate in 2023. By the way, that keeps real rates in negative territory. It's very dovish. And it's, you know, the networks say, oh, they're getting more hawkish. They're not getting more hawkish. They're doves. They're soaring as high as they can because they are keeping real rates in negative territory.
Right.
And that's critical to know.
Right. Well, again, that's the mask that they wear. They should carry a gun with them because they're robbing everybody with a smile on their face. Okay. It's been this way, and of course, you know how much I love the Fed, anyways. But this is they're totally imbeciles, and they may be very bright from a education standpoint, but from a common sense and understanding what really goes on in any economy, they're about as dumb as it gets. And it's a tragedy because it hurts.
Well, they're supposed to know about markets. So why would they, let me ask you a question. Why would they quote the most illiquid market as validation that it was transitory when they were making that statement? Because to me, that shows they don't know what they're talking about and they're not that bright.
Well, no, I don't think, I think that they're bright from a school education. Okay. You know, again, because obviously they went to the top universities. I mean, it doesn't make them bright, but again, you know, there's a lot of people, unfortunately, and the word common sense does not apply to 90% of the people anymore.
I get what you're saying. The only thing is that, look, I went through that education process, and I will tell you that in any economics class, or, you know, whether it's a basic one or an advanced one, you know, liquidity is a critical factor. In terms of robust data and robust analysis and statistical analysis. So why would brilliant PhD economists use the most illiquid market with no robust data points to validate that? To me, they're politicians. They're not economists. They're politicians wearing economist costumes.
Well, again, I have a big fundamental issue with economists to begin with, because I don't think any of them are very bright when it comes to understanding how an economy or how a market actually functions. Okay. And it's like the most basic principle, because markets themselves are the most basic principle ever. They've been functioning for thousands of years, not just the markets we know today.
If you have huge references, biblical references to markets.
Correct. And that's where I find it problematic, because this is, you know, listen, back, you know, in caveman days, one guy's land was barren, the other one had the beef, and they had to make changes. They've traded. Trading's been around in some form forever, because no matter how you did it, you had to do it. And these guys have destroyed, you know, and it really started with Alan Greenspan. It's really started with the Fed, but Alan Greenspan really expedited the destruction of everything, in my opinion.
Well, I think that's because he was a political animal. And I think, again, that the politics, when the central bank tries to validate the agenda of the ruling party, they get themselves in trouble, because what they do is they try to fit the data into a box that supports the agenda. And
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that whatsoever. And somebody said, aren't taxes robbery anyway? Well, again, I think that we all should pay a fair share to support, but I think they've gotten well beyond what is a fair share.
Oh, I agree. Listen, we have to support the military, our police, fire, we education. Those things are critical. Those are critical for the advancement of a calm and peaceful society. Right. Beyond that, it's all bullshit. Pardon my French.
When you look at, you know, like the state of Illinois, where I live, right? One of my occupancies, Okay. I mean, why are they always broke? They charge more tax than anybody else other than New York and California, but yet they're always out of money. Okay. So to me, that says that something's wrong with the bigger picture there, that there's an understanding that does not convert when you're always broke. California is always broke. Of course, 66% of their budget goes to fund illegals, and New York's always broke. And those are the three highest tax states in the nation, and yet they're always busted. Now, again, that makes no logical sense whatsoever that those states can always be broke. Okay, because they're charging you more to occupy those states, and everything is higher. Property tax, every single thing you pay for, you pay at a ridiculous rate. Okay, but yet they're always broke. Now, that to me is illogical. Okay, now again, maybe I'm wrong, but
No, you're not wrong. It is illogical, but there's a reason, and the reason is why, because the money goes into black holes where it disappears, into programs and things that are meaningless, that have no real effect. But they whether people take money from it or profit from it. A lot of people, I would say, in the political world, profit from these programs. So it's a cynical,
of course they profit. How else is
it's a cynical view of the whole thing. But the bottom line is that the money goes into things that doesn't achieve the objectives that they're spelled out that make them saleable to the public.
Well, here, I'll give you one example. I will start looking at some markets, but Joe and Jill Biden and their careers lifetime have made $6 million that they pay taxes on. Okay. But they're worth 120 million. Now, how does that compute? Okay. You either got to be the luckiest or the greatest investors of all time, or there's other things that are going on. You tell me.
I guarantee you that in their investment accounts, they lost money in markets. They're very good at, using their positions to get kickbacks. And that's what it is.
Right. Exactly. So,
okay. And whatever you call it, consulting, speaking, whatever it is, it's kickbacks. If you go and you speak at Goldman Sachs and Goldman writes you a check for $1 million, it's a kickback.
Naturally.
Because it's a kickback for your political influence.
Naturally, of course.
You could pick up the phone and talk to the policymaker.
That's right.
Lobbying. It's all lobbying.
And there you go. And there's the answer. And of course, we knew the answer. But again, this is the problem with where we are right now. And the current administration is compounding the problem that we've always had. So in the meantime, as we look at the markets a little bit, and of course the dollar, pretty much sideways, okay, which says what is this? It's at the higher end, right? So what does it say?
Sideways near the highs. I mean, the higher prospects for higher U.S. interest rates are bullish for the dollar because Europe is not going to raise interest rates. They're in deeper negative territory, and it's a mirage. You're looking at the dollar index. It's measuring the dollar against other things. Let's measure the dollar against other things since last year. The dollar's lower.
Right. And it continues to devalue, of course, a lot to do with our Federal Reserve geniuses that continue to steal from it. In the meantime, we're long dollars, and I would say I'd be watching, 96 to 97 will be the levels, Connie. 96 to 97. Okay. They invested in pork bellies, just like Hillary. Yeah. She's the only one who never got a margin call on pork bellies. It's amazing. Anyways, 96.
By the way, you hear they're paying Hillary? They paid her some money. Someone paid her some money to read her acceptance speech that she never got to give in 2016.
All right. It's amazing how they became billionaires, the Clintons. Okay. But, again, this is.
Well, the Clintons, the Obamas,
we're the lucky ones who get to pay them and get it to them. So in the meantime, the euro currency continues to fall. But again, obviously a mirror image, but it is hovering near the lows. Now, again, I'm a firm believer this is going a lot lower, and it may have a pop. Okay. And at the current moment, we're long it. But I think that over time, I believe we're going back under par on this. That's my opinion. I could be wrong.
Well, Europe has some basic problems because they tried to meld the cultures of Southern and Northern Europe, and therefore they'll never get anything done, and it weighs on the overall currency. So I can't disagree.
Right.
The trend since 2008 has been lower.
I mean, they're just not, they just don't when politics dictates policy and markets don't price themselves, that's where you find the bigger issues. Okay. In the meantime, at the moment, we're along this. And of course, the Bitcoin, which is, been under some pressure, and not a surprise. I mean, I think Andy stated very clearly that, every time there's an event, it pops. And so the events have now kind of waned. The last big event was the announcement of the micro Bitcoin, the micro Ethereum. Okay. And since then, we've kind of drifted
and you know what? Even at this level, it's still over 60% higher this year. How many markets can say that?
Exactly. And you know what? This is, in my opinion, this is the currency of the libertarian. And I think it's here to stay. And I think that the central banking system and the governments have realized that they're not going to be able to beat it. So they better figure out a way to benefit from it somewhere with taxes or whatever. Because, now that they brought out some products into the exchanges, right? I mean, we've got, more coming out and more options trading now. So I think what you're seeing is a change or a turn that, again, they may not want it, they may not like it, but they're going to figure out a way to accept it, because I think it's going to go on no matter what they say, because, it can still work in many markets, even if they try to outlaw it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's here to stay, no question about it. I think that they're going to try to put a leash on it next year. I think the SEC is going to try to take a look at it. I think there's a race to digital fiat currencies.
Oh, I agree.
China's winning that race. I don't even think the U.S. has its act together with that. I think there's more of a chance of a digital euro than a digital dollar in the near future.
How about let me give Connie these others. Connie, 112.50 to 113.50. Okay. How about a world digital currency? A world digital coin.
They'd love that.
Okay. Does that appease China?
A world digital fiat currency that they can control.
Naturally.
Right.
I mean, does that appease China at all?
Sure. Biden's administration will sign the agreement right now.
That's what I figured. Okay. And of course, Bitcoin, if you're looking at levels here, I mean, look, it looks like 47,000 is trying to hold, but 45 or lower wouldn't surprise me. And it wouldn't surprise me if we took off, but certainly we are short this and it is trending lower. So we'll see. Coco. Okay. Coco and Joe. That's the Christmas song.
Yeah, failed at a lower high.
Yeah, we're still along it, but it doesn't look very good now. But it's really in this, it had it wild, as you said, would have a big December, and it expired out. And then, of course, we're now working and watching it, and it's, it kind of looks kind of sloppy, which is not a surprise.
It's the only soft commodity that's not up on the year. It's down a little bit. And, cocoa flies by its own kind of pilot because it's West Africa. So, it could be interesting in 2022.
Right.
Follow the trends in the short term.
Our government's trying to take over cryptocurrencies. No, I don't think they're trying to take them over. I think they're trying to figure out a way to get their piece from them. I think they realize, this is my opinion, and Andy can comment one way or the other, but I think they're just trying to get as much benefit as they can, knowing that even in the private sector or in the dark sector, they're going to be used. And
I agree with that.
They either get on board and deal with it, or they let it get away from them and they get nothing.
I will tell you this, though.
Yeah.
The higher the market cap of the overall asset class rises, the more they're going to get scared. And the more they're going to start squawking about reining them in big time. So
Right.
At 2.2 trillion, they're smaller than Apple. They're a pimple on an elephant's backside.
An elephant's ass, I'll say it.
Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Okay. and they don't have any systemic concerns. But if they rise to 5 trillion or higher, you're going to see a lot of squawking from politicians.
Well, I do think you're going to see some rising here. Now, again, part of the rise that might have come will be muted a little bit because they're now accepting and making these products on the exchanges. So it does take away some of the money that might have gone there.
But they're all futures-based, not physical-based. That's
Right.
critical. In Europe, you have some physical-based ETPs, as they call them there. but here it's ETFs and they're based on the futures. And, I think that that's where Gensler has drawn the line.
I can see it. Like I said, I can see it anything. I just do think that they're, as I've said all along, look, I would not put more than I could afford to lose in them. But I do think that they're real. And I think, as they said in Seinfeld, they're real and they're spectacular.
Yeah. By the way, I was looking at this one this morning, AXS. Have you ever looked at that one?
Yeah, I think so. Let me pull it up.
It's like the Pokemon meets NFTs meets cryptocurrencies. The thing went from 15 cents last November to $160.
Right.
And now it's about $90. It's interesting because it brings together the NFTs, the cryptocurrencies, the metaverse, the whole thing, the big video game, but that you could make money on. I thought that was an interesting one.
Yeah, and there's going to be more. I mean, there's going to be more of these tokens, and there are real values in many of these things. And again, the real problem here is they keep getting more, which means there's more criminals involved in this element. And again, I'm not talking about the big one.
You're right, but there's also demand.
Well, no, I know, but
you can't bring supply on unless there's demand.
Anytime there is money out there and people think that they can get it, it's the same as the advertising that is done in our industry. Okay. You make people believe and they put their money in and all of a sudden it's poof, gone. Okay. Anyways, crude oil. I don't know, kind of wild. Went down to 66 today and then exploded back higher. Now it was much lower. It was $1.50 lower. But it looks like it's just in a big wide range right now. It does look like it wants to start to trend lower, but I know you and I both believe that it's going higher.
Yeah, I mean, the level to watch on New Year's Eve is 75.12, which would be the 7th consecutive quarterly gain. I expect wide swings in crude oil, over the coming days and weeks. I mean, it held at a higher low. Today's action, we have to remember we're in a seasonally weak time of the year. The end of the year tends to be weak in crude oil.
Right. So, we'll see where it goes. But in the meantime, we're still long it. It's 66 to 70. And we'll see what happens from there. And cotton, which again, we said that it was in that tight range, it was going to pop, and actually it broke out and it came right back in this little tight little range. Okay. And look, where's it going to go? We're short. Where's it going to go from here? I mean, certainly it's had a monster move over the last 8 months, right? So
yeah, I'd love to see it go back to 90 cents. I'd love to see
it came from 49.
Right.
So now, certainly you're kind of at midpoint here, but it does look like it wants to go lower, and it will break from here. And my guess is it'll break into the 90s. Okay, but certainly it could break higher. I mean,
that whole sector got pushed lower today, except for the orange juice, which went higher. But the sector, got crushed today. So I think the selling kind of spilled over from one to the other. Started with coffee.
It could be, and then of course, gold. Look, gold doesn't look very good. I can't sugarcoat it. I can't make it look better than it is. It doesn't look very good. Okay, now. Does it mean it's never going to go up again? No. I mean, we're buyers, on a physical standpoint, but from a trading standpoint, we're short paper and we're going to stay short for now.
Gold looks like 1800 is like a powerful magnet. It goes below, it sucks it back up. It goes above, it pushes it back below. 1800 has been a pivot for, since when? Since June?
I know your key number is 1450, right? Somewhere.
Yeah, that's way below the market. Yeah.
No, I know. But what in your mind? Again, I'm not asking for a prediction. I'm just in your mind. What is the probability we see 1450 before we see 2000? Let's say.
Good question, man. I'd say there's a better chance to see 2000 than 1450. Okay. I'd say 75-25.
Okay. I mean, again, I don't.
That would be my. Listen, I never preclude anything. And I could see, I wouldn't be shocked if gold, had a brutal plunge. But with real interest rates in negative territory through 2023, which I think is what the Fed told us, I think that 1450. This has been, look, gold's range, Bubba, in 2020 was $680. This year it's under $300.
Right.
It's an inside year. It didn't make a high, didn't make a lower low. It's an inside year.
It's kind of like silver.
Right. And so, well, silver's different. Silver did make a higher high this year.
No, but I mean, it's a very tight range for the year.
Right.
Okay. So again, look, I'm a fan of precious metals. I'm a bigger fan of platinum right now because it's cheaper and it's like a bargain. Now, maybe we're wrong and maybe it's not a bargain, but I'm going to continue to buy physical metals under any circumstances because I'm not selling those. But when I'm trading, I'm going to trade with the trend. And again, we had a nice pop after the Fed. They rallied back that day. They rallied Thursday, they rallied Friday. But it doesn't look like, it looks like nothing. When you look at the big picture, it looks like nothing. And again, to me,
There's nothing. It's a lot of nothing. It's, you know what? It's just, it's dead money.
right. And I would be selling more at 1,800. Okay, how's that? Okay, now again, I could be wrong and I could lose money. I won't be the first time, but I would certainly, until proven otherwise, would be a seller at 1,800.
And what do you think? 1450, 2000.
You know, I don't. I honestly, I've quoted you, okay, because again, I can't look that far. I try to look one level at a time.
But I get it.
So, but I did quote it and I did say it. And I said, you know, again, I don't like to make those types of numbers because, you know, you do much longer term work and things like that. Right. So I don't like to make those numbers, but I do believe that you're probably correct and that your numbers usually come to show out eventually over time. So I said, look, to me, the next real target is 1720, you know, 1760, 1720, and then I'll see. But there is a possibility that the 1450 number eventually could come into play here. And that's
absolutely. No. Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. In the meantime, Connie, 1780 to 1800, which is a very tight range, which says that we're going to get a bigger move. And I still believe until proven otherwise, it'll be lower. The feeder cattle, which we have reversed and are now short.
By the way, let me go back to gold. Well, let me ask you a question. Do you see a significant move before the end of this year?
No.
Okay.
I've been surprised before.
Right. I agree with you on that. I mean, I think,
you know, as I told everybody over the weekend, I think that if we see a big move in anything, they're going to be down. Okay. I don't think we get a big up move. If you get anything big, if you get some kind of fundamental news bomb that rocks the something, it could only be down. I don't see a big rally in anything. And I didn't necessarily see a big sell-off either. But I said,
I think we'll look back at the end of 2021 as the last bombshell was the Mansion announcement.
Yeah, and I didn't get the platinum yet, Connie. I just brought it up as a physical. We'll get there certainly. I do them in alphabetical order, so we kind of jump around. Feeder cattle, look, it looks weaker. I mean, overall, it doesn't look so bad, but you know, look, the supply chains are screwed up. The cost of farming is going. Everything is negative to this market because people can't afford to buy it either. You know, the end users can't afford to buy it.
Right. The one thing we have to remember about these cattle markets and these markets is the futures can go down and the prices in the store could still go up. You know, we saw that last year in 2020, like so dramatically. So, you know, we follow the trends in the futures, but I will tell you this, I'm sure that we're going to pay more for steaks over the coming months.
100%. Okay. And, you know, so in the meantime, you know, right now we're short and hogs, okay, which we're long. Okay.
Nowhere, but elevated for this time of the year.
Yeah. They're very, very high, in my opinion, for this time of the year.
Yeah.
You know, again, I don't understand why,
All
but
you have to do is look at a long-term chart. They're very high for this time of the year, but you want to follow the trends here. They're holding nicely. And you know what? Each day that goes by, we're closer to where we're going to start looking peak season again.
right. And you've got, you know, you're setting up for a very big move one way or the other. So we'll see.
You know, once you're in January, you start thinking about Memorial Day.
That was true.
Yeah.
The copper markets have been wild. They're going nowhere. Then they've gone nowhere for the last, you know, I don't know, couple of weeks. But the trading inside the days has been wild.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, on what was it, Wednesday or Thursday? They were down about 13 cents.
Oh yeah, that was the Fed day. He went down to 411. Was it 411.85?
And then by the time of the day, they came all the way back.
Yeah.
They were up big on the next day, and they came all the way back down. And today they've been kind of mixed. I mean, we're kind of, again, we're still in this area that suggests a much bigger move is coming. Now we're still short copper, okay, but there is a suggestion that a much bigger move is coming. And I know you still think it's up? Is that
I
still
still
your
think
take?
it's up. I mean, I think that's, but again, my work is multi-year.
No, I know.
You know, we're talking about wind turbines and EVs and demand, and that it takes 10 years to build a new copper production mine. So that's long term. Short term, I mean, listen, you know, if all hell breaks loose in markets and the stock market takes a nosedive, copper ain't going up. Copper's going to go down. That I can guarantee you. So the bottom line is long term, yeah, I like this thing, but I'll follow trends because I don't want
Right. No, I mean, I agree with you. Listen, we'll see. It should inflate like everything else. But again, so I'm going to ask you, we're just a quick guess, $4 or $5 first.
Oh, that's a thing. You know what? That's a tough. I would say $4 because it's much closer.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think $4 is still within the range, and $5 is a new all-time high. So I would say $4. If I was betting, I would say $4, and we're short now, so I would rather see $4.
Well, yeah, that's me too. Coffee got clobbered today, but you know, look,
what a shock!
Look where it's come from. I mean, you know, this is, you know, those of you who don't trade, this is, I think it's $375 a penny in the futures market. I mean, you know, this is a huge move. We made
almost $4,000 today. I mean,
is it
a huge move? But
are you still thinking $3?
Yeah, eventually. I mean, this doesn't destroy the fact that, you know, the Arabica crop was virtually wiped out in Brazil in July by that frost, and there's a supply issue. But, you know, these things don't go in straight lines, and the corrections are brutal. I mean, listen, this thing has room down to go to $1.80. Before a couple of years ago, we hadn't traded it. Before a couple of months ago, we hadn't traded above 176.
I know. I mean,
so, you know, this is a wild market. And remember, if we compare 2008 through 2012 to 2020 and the years to come, coffee went up to 306 from $1. You know, it wasn't a straight line, Bubba, and it's not going to be a straight line here.
This is the Wild West. When you're
coffee of all the softs is the most painful if you get it wrong.
Between the drug dealers and the different crops throughout the globe, this is a wild commodity. And again, I remember buying coffee at 40 cents.
Yes.
So, you know, in the meantime, we're still long as of the moment. Lumber, you know, had a big, huge up move and now is pulling back a little bit. But again, certainly still, we don't trade lumber. It's not liquid. It's just something we watch as part of the economy.
But we're not as stupid as the Fed to make grandiose statements, macroeconomic statements off the back of the lumber market, which basically is the, if I had to put up the poster child for the term Roach Motel, it would be the lumber market.
Oh, this is the Roach Motel squared.
Right. This is the market that, you know, if you can get yourself into a position, you know it's wrong.
And you can't get out. What do you say, Joe? How you doing? Nice to see you. Anyways, and then of course the cattle markets. Okay, and again, look, at the end of the day, you're seeing a little bit of pressure in these markets for many reasons. You know, and you know, but I think the biggest reason, in my opinion, is the supply chain and the things that are breaking down around it, the overall cost, the cost of production. You know, nobody talks about that. You know, these imbeciles in government don't ever talk about, you know, what the damage that is being done and the expense. You know, you may not understand farming, okay, but farming is huge, and you know that was the backbone of America. But the cost that these guys have to go through to risk to get either raise their cattle or get a crop out at the end of the year is unbelievable.
Fertilizer prices, equipment prices, energy prices. Come on.
Wait, let's forget about all those, which are easy. What about the cost of money? You know, they don't get mortgage rates at 3%.
Yeah, they don't borrow at the Fed at 0% Fed funds rate.
Yeah, they're paying at best. I would say that at best they're paying 5.5% to 6%, if not higher. And if they go higher, they're going to really get raked over here. And of course, the higher the rates go, suddenly, what do we have? We have the banks now take back control and sometimes force liquidation. When prices are cheap and rates are so low, they don't force liquidation. But the minute that they smell any risk for themselves, boom, they force them out. But in the meantime, we're short cattle as well in here. And natural gas, well, it was up today, but look at it. I mean, again, this is resetting up.
I have never seen a market where more people, over the last 40 years, I have never seen more people carried out in any market with nothing on their backs like natural gas.
Yep.
And then the price action over the summer and until October, and since October, it's the reason why. This is a wild, it's combustible when you take it out of the crust of the earth in its natural form, and its price action is equally as incendiary. It's a wild commodity. You have to have discipline if you dip a toe in the water here. You cannot let trades become investment positions. It's a recipe for disaster. Listen, volatility is a paradise for disciplined traders, but it's a nightmare for those who want to invest and who are stubborn. So if you're stubborn, if you know yourself, stay away from this with a 10-foot pole.
I mean, you look at where it came from, 660, now we're at 360.
Right.
And again, we're getting ready. Now, again, I'm going to guess that this is going to be based on weather. And, if we continue to have mild weather, you could see another push to the downside.
Of course you could. No question about it. But you get a cold snap, you get $1 higher.
Like
this is a wild market. And this market also, the other thing that this market does very well is it screws the biggest speculative positions.
Yes, sir.
Every time. If the market gets overly long or overly short, it takes a pound of flesh. So you got to be careful. You want to be the first in and the first out in this market.
Somebody commented on the volume. First of all, the volume in cattle is not very high. That's number one. It looks higher than it is. It's not very good. And the reason it's so much higher at the open and close is because the country club players are putting their stuff in play there. This is, again, it's a very rough market. I only use it to hedge. I would never use it to try to trade in, because they'll barbecue you in there.
That's right. Because if you try to trade in cattle or any of these meats, the real meat people control the prices, and everyone else who goes in are sheep that get led to the slaughter. You go right to the processing plant.
Exactly. And that's so, again, I only use it to hedge. I would never use it as a trading vehicle. I mean, occasionally, we put it in our portfolios because we're holding on to them. But to try to trade this actively, you'd have to see a doctor, because you're dealing with the country club players. OJ, we're long and it's been spiking up, and again, it must be cold in Florida.
Exactly. Trading places, it's the crop report, it's Florida. It gets a little cold in Florida, they go crazy. It's just the way it is there. The thing is, all the oranges come from Brazil. They don't really come from Florida.
So what's going on in Brazil? That's what I was getting to.
Not much. I've been watching it because I've seen the Florida. It's so seasonal. Just like oil's coming off, it's seasonal. It's seasonal to run orange juice into winter. When does winter start? Tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Today, no, it's tomorrow, 21st.
That's my explanation. It's tomorrow.
The winter solstice is tomorrow, the shortest day of the year.
That's right. Oh, that means the sun will go down at like 5 to 4 here.
We have to celebrate.
Yeah.
Platinum continues to get hammered. It may, again, you can look at this. This is not a double bottom, although you could look at it. People will look at it as a double bottom, but the double bottom in a downtrend is not very good, which means it has a chance to go even lower.
Yeah,
now,
886 on December 15th.
We like to buy platinum because we think it's a value, and we could be wrong. Yeah. Okay, but we don't trade it because it's not liquid enough anymore. But if we were trading it, we'd be short. Okay, and sugar. No, look, it's now testing a bottom end level here.
Yeah, it's gone lower with oil. I mean, it's a very oil sensitive commodity because it's the primary ingredient in ethanol in Brazil. So when oil gets the skids and gasoline goes down and ethanol goes down, sugar tends to go down. So and it's thin this time of the year in the sugar market. So that's what I saw today.
Yeah, and this is a key. We're long, and this is a key spot here. Because I don't know if we'll still be long tomorrow, but right now we're still long. Silver, look, again, it looks ugly. And now, again, am I against silver? I love silver. I mean, I buy that too. But for when I'm trading it, I can't worry about what I like 10 years from now. What I'm worried about now.
How could you be long a commodity that's done what this is done since mid-November to now? You can't.
Right. I mean,
You
listen,
got to respect the trend.
I like silver. I buy it. I buy silver, platinum, and gold on a regular basis. Okay, but that's hard. That's the store, and really, for when I drop dead, my kids will sell it. Okay,
For
but
those of us who really love precious metals like me and Bubba, trade them, make money off the trends, then take your profits and buy the metals.
right,
That's probably a winning strategy long term.
exactly. Okay, and of course, the bond market. We're kind of creeping higher. We're still long. We're getting whippier days, which suggests something is going on and it might be a bigger move coming. But you still are, even with today's ugly trade, you're still creeping higher. And I would suspect that you're right now 161 on the downside to 164 on the upside.
Well, you and I both agree that if we get a big whoosh down in the stock market, these bonds will fly.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line there. So that's the risk. The Fed has already told us that they're going to raise interest rates, and that's bearish for bonds and all that. But the real risk is on the upside right now, because if the stocks really teeter, the money's flowing to the bonds because it's safe.
Who am I giving your phone number to, my dear? Anyways, and then corn, look, it was down today, but just look at the pattern. It just creeps.
Corn is doing, technically it looks okay. It looks really good to me. I mean,
yeah, no, it looks phenomenal. I mean,
and this is not the peak season here in corn. And even it was down today. Oil prices, ethanol, gasoline, all down. Okay, I can understand that, but we're still 590.
right. I mean, we're working nicely higher, and we'll see. Look at again. I would not be surprised to see a 6 in front of this at some point shortly, and we'll see. We're still long. Soybeans, which we reversed this morning when they were lower, and now they close higher, and they're starting to look better. Now they're at, to me, a key point right here. Now they got to break from here, but again,
it is. It's the teens price. It's the teens price.
And wheat had a hell of a recovery today after being down big early, came back. Now wheat still looks pretty crappy. Okay, which is why we're so short wheat. Now, look, as Andy tells us all the time, it's a political product as well. But remember, wheat led us up, and the spread between corn and wheat, although not as consistent as it used to be, is still got very wide out there. And it's normally going to see some retracement, which it would take a rally in corn, which we've seen, and a sell-off in wheat. And now we'll see where we go from here.
Yeah, the Kansas City Chicago wheat spread at 35 cents is last I looked at it, which was Friday. Has made a huge recovery, which tells me that there is a decent amount of consumer hedging in the market, and that tends to, when that spread blows out and goes to a bigger premium in Kansas City, it tends to support the wheat price. So I get we're short on the trend because we have come down a lot. We've come down $1 from the highs, but could I see it stopping here and turning higher? Yes.
No, I would be. We are long ZB and we're long ZN. We're long the 10 and the 30. Okay. So in the meantime, we'll see. Any comments on the market segment before we cut and go to the actual Monday call?
Yeah, the only comment I have for everyone who's here in the pregame is, what? Remember, it's holidays. Don't get yourself into trouble over the next 2 weeks.
Right.
Don't look if you look for trouble, it's going to find you. How's that?
You will find it. And, the guys that trade with me every morning, I mean, we made 2 trades today. And I said, look, we're not going to step out of bounds now. This is not the time to take any chances whatsoever. If it's not as clear as a bell,
right,
or as Jack Nicholson,
absolutely,
crystal clear, we're not getting involved. And that's what you got to remember. You have no benefit here. This is a very challenging market to try to be active. And if you're forcing things, you're bound to get yourself clobbered. Okay. That's why the professionals are not there right now. So in the meantime, all right, let me stop this and we'll get into the actual Monday call as well. And hold on, let me go stop and have my girlfriend speak to me. Okay, darling, thank you. Okay, oops, I gotta get this up. Okay, oh, wait. Hold on, got to do my thing here. Got to start it. Okay, hold on. Right now for that slideshow. Okay, and there we go. In the meantime, so now as we join the Monday call, let me get my recording going now. And you. And what's up, everybody? It is Monday night, and of course, pretty crazy day in the markets overall. We were down. It looked like they could really take him to the toilet, and then they found a way to once again bring him back up. And we'll see. Listen, well, as Andy and I have said repeatedly over the last couple of hours, it's very hard to decipher. This is a very thin market, and in my opinion, if there's anything big happens, it has to be down. We could certainly drift higher. I would not be surprised at all. I was kind of shocked with the overwhelming sell-off this morning. But again, that's part of markets. I'm never really shocked. I expect it. Okay. If you're careful, you can get slapped. That's right. Okay. So in the meantime,
by the way, I like that Gold Bugs thing.
I did too. Yeah.
Very good.
Those guys are great artists. Anyways, we want to make sure we do wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, because this is the last call of the year.
Yeah. Happy holidays. Enjoy it.
This is the last Monday night call this year. So we do want to make sure we wish you all happy Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and Happy Hanukkah. That's over already. But again, we did that we did that in time and in season. And of course, we
got our present, which is that we're not going to build back worse.
Yeah. Actually, that's trash, America, trash. No call on the next 2 Mondays, or next Monday, no call. All right. The next Monday and the Monday after, we're back in business. So this is the last call this year. And we always want to remember to thank the veterans and those who serve us, because as you know, that Ann and I hold them in very high regard, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do.
And a lot of them are away from their families over the holidays, which is tough.
And a lot of them have given their lives to get us to where we are. And they do it for nothing. They do it for the love of the country, which is something that we're severely lacking these days. But anyways, so veterans, active duty, families, we love you. We thank you. And as always, okay. In the meantime, so as I always give my thoughts, the supply chain collapse. How do we solve this, Andy? What's the resolution?
It's interesting. I mean, I think that, look, some of it's pandemic related, but I think a lot of it is created. And I think a lot of it is very political. And I think it has to do with trade problems and all kinds of stupidity that's going on. How do we change it? I think we change governments.
All right. Well, I agree. But again, so how do we
vote? We vote.
Oh, really? We can do that still?
We vote. Next year, we vote. And by the way, anyone who doesn't vote next year, I don't care who you vote for. Express your opinion. You got to vote. That's the New Year's resolution. Vote. Get your ass off the couch and vote is right. Yeah. Now, this is interesting among many things that the NFL has done. But this, all of a sudden, the pandemic's not such a pandemic because they find that this Omicron variant is much more mild.
Right. So now they changed the way they test because, of course, they don't want to cancel games. And they had a big stink over the weekend because, the the Las Vegas Raiders say, well, wait a second. The rules were this. Okay. And of course, well, they when it comes to money, they take charge. Right. Yeah. And, there's just many things going on. And of course,
hockey now has a big cross-border. They canceled all US Canadian games.
Oh, it's brutal. They've shut down a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Now those are easier games to make up because they can play more often. Football, once a week is about it because your body takes such a beating.
Right.
And of course, we talked about this pretty much the whole call, and that Senator Manchin says no, which is what I thought he would do. And I didn't think he could be bought off because he's pretty wealthy. He doesn't need to be bought off. He's clipped enough coupons in his career in Washington.
Yeah, he said when the crazies try to attack him, they blockaded his Maserati.
Right. Exactly. So we'll see what goes on from there.
I don't know how many people in West Virginia. How many Maserati dealerships you think there are in West Virginia?
Well, none. I'm sure you bought it in Washington. Please vote in person. Yes, sir. Captain, how you doing, brother? How are you, man? Long time. And of course, Elon Musk calls Elizabeth Warren Senator Karen. It says he'll pay more taxes than any American in history, which is true.
And aside from that, how many people does he employ that pay taxes?
Right. That's the point that I always try to make. and nobody understands it who wants to keep beating on this stupid drum of the rich don't pay taxes. Again, you want them to pay more taxes, change the tax code, quit attacking them like they're doing something wrong, because all they're doing is employing people and sending out paychecks, which they pay taxes, and the people that they employ pay taxes. Okay. You want to fix it, change the tax code, quit bitching and quit whining, because Washington, not only Bernie Sanders, but the entire government are takers, not makers. Okay.
I love it. I have a cartoon here that I'll send you later, Bubba. I wish it's a picture of AOC saying, "I love Christmas. Today I saw a person give a phone, a watch, and a wallet to someone who only had a knife."
Oh, God, help me. Anyways, again, the solutions are very simple if they get their head out of their ass and take care of business. But that's not going to happen, because they're going to take a raise during COVID. When nobody's working, they took raises. Just remember that. Okay. When nobody was working, they were taking a raise. Okay. And they don't have Obamacare. They have their own private health care. But anyways, on to the words of wisdom from our friend Connie. And of course, a mistake repeated more than once is a decision. Well, again, that's 100% correct. And of course, she once again hits the nail on the head. And, look, again, you can choose to make the same old mistake, which is a decision you're making, versus, listen, we're all going to make mistakes at certain points, but if you keep making the same mistake, you're making a decision to make that mistake, and that's just dumb. Okay. And of course, our new category, the State of the Union, the final variant is called communism. Now, again, we may talk about it, we may laugh about it occasionally and think it can't happen. Just remember that it can happen. We've already given up much of our freedoms that we used to have. Okay. You cannot have certain kinds of talk. You can't write certain kinds of articles. They don't put them on. And there was a country that was once the richest in the world by far, which is known as Venezuela. And of course, after Chavez and Maduro got through them, they had nothing. Okay. And of course, only two groups like communism or socialism, and that is the very rich, because it destroys competition. They get to keep their money. And the very poor, because they get something for nothing. And who gets tortured the most in communism, my brother?
People who work for a living.
Exactly. Okay. So in the meantime, nice job, my dear. And I'm glad you're back, and I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm glad you're able to walk today. Good for you. Okay. And of course, my bitch, I always bitch, but my last one is the destruction of small business. I'm so sick of what they're doing. And this is directly correlated to this administration. Okay. They are destroying all small business. And I love to support small business. I look for small business to spend my money. I look for independently owned restaurants to spend my money. I don't want to give it to some corporation. I want to take care of the little guy. But unfortunately, they've wiped out these guys with their stupid regulations and rules, and the way that they've taxed everything, where the little guys get penalized. And of course, that is more by plan, not by accident. Any thought to that, sir?
Yeah, I mean, hey, Buffalo, New York is ground zero. They're unionizing Starbucks there. And, that's not that Starbucks is not a small business, but, the bottom line is that this government, the party in power would like to see all businesses unionized, which precipitates the destruction of small business, because how could a small business survive with all of the regulations? Regulations equal cost. They actually, all of the regulations favor big businesses at the expense of small businesses, because big businesses have a lot of capital and they can pay these expenses. The small businesses can't.
And speaking of that, unions, what is your take on them changing the name of the Las Vegas airport to the Harry Reid Airport?
I can't use the proper language to express my feelings. How's that?
And I assume that. Okay.
I would have preferred the Benito Mussolini Airport.
Again, it's a shame that it has to come.
He was as crooked as they come, in my opinion. And
no,
I just hope the next time we get a Republican administration, they change the name to something else.
Right. I mean,
and to maybe something that reflects Las Vegas, rather than Harry Reid doesn't reflect Las Vegas. No. Harry Reid reflects, the universal basic income.
Right. Exactly. All right. Anyways, so as we look at the markets themselves and see where we're at and set our levels, and of course, the Dow, Yankee Michael, which we use the future.
By the way, one other comment on that.
Yeah, sure.
It's a total encouragement of vandalism to anything with the name on it. Not by me, but I'm just saying there are lots of very conservative people here who do not like him.
Right.
It's an encouragement for vandalism.
Who could blame him for not liking him? I mean, listen, he is a piece of crap anyways. I mean, again, I don't, you know me, I'm not going to hold back what I think. I mean, you know,
look, the guy who replaced him, Schumer, you know, he was my assemblyman, and when I lived in Brooklyn growing up, he's as bad as he is, and I am not a fan at all of Chuck Schumer. He's a step up from Harry Reid.
Yeah, no, listen, they're again, we have these issues that we have to deal with, and again, you think that it's okay and we can ignore them, and you can't. That becomes.
I mean, anyone who's been in Vegas for a long time, who is in the casino industry, will tell you that Harry Reid would love to go and shake down a casino.
Right. Exactly. And then, again, like I said, I'm not gonna, you know.
I mean, that's not me talking. That's secondhand. That's, whether they're right or wrong. That's what I've been told. So I have no reason to doubt the people who've told me that.
Right. So in the meantime, it looks like we're, like 34, 34.5, to 35.5, and we'll see what it looks like from here. I mean, again, it's not under total damage control. And certainly the rebound rally again today was certainly reasonable. And then of course the S&P Echo Sierra, which we are still long. And again, will we still be long tomorrow? That I don't know. It's very close. I do know that. Okay. But from looking at the chart, listen, it held 42, 45.20, and it looks like it's 45.20 to 4,600. Okay. Let's see what happens from there.
I have one more thing to say about the Harry Reid. Okay. You started this. I'm sorry. It's more appropriate to name the route from the casinos to the voting booth the Harry Reid route, because he really was the one who developed the busing of illegal immigrants with the promises of a free lunch to vote in Nevada, which is a big reason why Nevada is now dominated by the party it's dominated.
Yeah. Lived in Nevada, Reid is fill in the blank. We all got one. Anyway, and of course the Nasdaq, which we reversed today, and we're now short. Okay, and again, you can see, we're right here at this. Most of the markets are fairly similar, and they're just all on the edge of reversing to the downside. The Nasdaq did reverse along with the Russell. So here I'd look to be a seller probably at around 157.50 to 160 or 1600. Okay, and the Russell Romeo Tango Yankee.
We have an article out today on Seeking Alpha about the IWN and about the Russell, and really it goes into what Bubba's bitch was about small businesses. That it's a regulatory environment, and everything that this administration is trying to do is not good for small business, and it's not good for small cap companies. The big caps will do okay; they have enough cash to wade through. But the smaller cap companies don't. They have more jeopardy in this market. That's my opinion.
No, I agree. I mean that's of course why they're suffering. Okay, I got to give you the new levels. Hold on.
So this Russell 2000 is 300 million to 2 billion market cap.
Fifth county 15.6 to 15.750, then 16,000. Okay, but it looks like it wants to go lower. Or it certainly looks for sell rallies, and the Russell, okay, is and we are short the Russell as well. And again, this is breaking down from here a little bit. I would say here, I don't see any support. I would be a seller at 2,200 though. Okay, as we broke that key level, and I would look to continue to sell it. Okay, and the VIX.
We'll see if Santa gives you the chance to sell it.
And the VIX, look again. It once again, every time you get these spikes, they fall right apart. Now the trend looks a little bit better in the VIX in general. but it's still really just in a big swinging consolidation pattern. Okay. How is Pelosi got away with this for long? Well, listen, money talks, and that's all the story is.
The Speaker of the House, she's the most powerful woman in Congress.
Yep.
She's the most powerful person, other than Manchin. She's number 2.
Yep. 100%. All right. Anyways, Apple, Alpha, Papa Lima. Okay. And of course, this is taking quite the hit, which we thought that 180 would hold some resistance. And we're still long. I thought 170 would hold. It did not. I would think that, this is 167, 166 is pretty key here. And it is a little bit surprising that it has fallen so hard. But again, this is the market. You can't dispute the actual price action. Okay. So for the moment, we're still long. And so for now, I will look at this from, 166 to 170. Okay. I can't.
But you think that the pressure for higher taxes is kind of off now because of the Manchin thing?
I think it might be. I think that there's always going to be, here's the problem, Andy. We produce nothing. The government produces nothing. They always need more money. They overspend. They don't live on a budget like normal people. Okay. And of course, they continue to give away our capital to others. And it's just like the SPR, 3 weeks ago when they drained it for 50 million barrels, or whatever it was, and they gave it to China and India. What is that all about?
Right.
Okay.
I think that taxes will go up in 2022.
I think they're going to raise. Listen, there's no doubt in my mind that if they can get away with it, they're going to raise taxes. Now, whether they can get away with it,
that's kind of a warning sign for all these, stocks that are kind of elevated here, that people who think like we do might want to, bank something and just, this year. So, pay the old capital gains. It's not going to be retroactive. I don't think.
They'd like to make it retroactive.
They'd like to, but I don't think they'll be able to get that through a 50-50,
I don't think they get anything through, but in the meantime, Apple's going to 3 trillion. Without a doubt, Apple's going to 3 trillion.
Oh, absolutely. It's a question from what level.
Right? Latest talk and executive action on BBB that he couldn't get past. Yeah, I mean, look, but again, taxes, they want to raise taxes. This is, again, the overall plan. China's got the 100-year plan. These guys got a 2-day plan, and they want higher taxes.
Yeah, absolutely. So that could affect that. That's another reason. Just be careful in the markets over the next couple, because a lot of craziness can go on.
AG, which we have not traded yet, but again, it's just a representation of silver, and I think it's better than SLB. It's hovering like the rest. I mean, I certainly wouldn't short it here. Okay, I cover stocks like these because I have an intention when I think they're going to move to want to be a buyer. Okay, that's the only reason we cover this. Is it's a representation of silver, and if silver is going to start to pop, this is a cheaper or less expensive.
Right. And the beauty of this stock is that it's producers are leveraged, so you're going to get outperformance on the upside. When it is going to pop, and you don't really get the time decay because First Majestic Silver is not going to go out of business if silver goes down.
So, I mean, again, when we're ready, this would be something that we would trade to the long side and long side only, because I don't short $10 stocks under any circumstances.
Right.
AMD, Alpha Michael Delta, which we are still short, and of course, made a high, made a lower high. You're looking at probably 130, 135-ish, which is right about where we are, to 145. But certainly, I would not be surprised at all to see it at 125 and working its way lower. Okay, this is the pattern that you have, and certainly I would love to be a seller. At 145 it would pop back up. I don't think it will, but certainly I'd love to sell more for now. Bravo Alpha. Unfortunately, we turned long this last week, and of course it's going down in the toilet. And listen, China stocks are pathetic right now, and it's unfortunate that it triggered, but it did. And when you look at it, it's kind of in the middle of consolidation near the bottom end, and certainly the 100 could come into play here. I mean, we could go below 100. What do you think?
Man, Charlie Munger, he's really, if he didn't sell, I'm a monkey's uncle.
No, he sold. That's the problem.
We'll find out in a couple of weeks.
Right.
The bottom line is this thing looks terrible. Chinese stocks look terrible, and at the end of the day, there's a good reason for it, because the Chinese, are not thrilled about raising capital in our markets, and our regulators hate their stocks because they're corporate structures. So it's not surprising. Look, Alibaba, the FXI is down 20-30% this year, with the S&P 500 up 20%. The bottom line is Chinese stocks are out of vogue. There's value there, but there's value and there's big risk.
Right. And listen, again,
This is Chinese Amazon. And you know what? If you
and
like
we're
Amazon,
still, we are
like Amazon's business model, you got better chance on the upside with Amazon than Alibaba.
we're long at the moment. I don't know if we'll be long tomorrow, but we are long at the moment. In the meantime, 110 to 115 is how I see it, or 116, right around here, right in this neighborhood. Bido, which is just the ETF that covers the futures on Bitcoin, continues to go south. And we have not made a trade here yet because there's nothing really to trade yet. Again, we cover this there's something to cover for very specific reasons. And this is covered because if you're looking to get into the crypto space, but afraid of the space, the private wallet, all the stuff all the horror stories you hear, these are ways to try to play if you choose to do so. Okay. But right now, this is just going straight down. I don't see any reason at all whatsoever to buy this yet.
This is a falling knife, and Bitcoin is still under pressure, and that's. But as I said in the pregame, it's up 60% on the year, and this is a very, 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 very volatile market.
Right. I can't fight the trend, Ken. Sorry, buddy. I can't fight the signals. It is what it is. And BitQ again continues to get trashed, which is not a surprise. This is Bitcoin soup. But Bitcoin soup is not very good at the moment. And again, this is just another avenue for those who want to be involved in crypto, but are afraid to get into the other stuff. So, but I wouldn't be buying this either.
Can I ask you a question about going back for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Charlie Munger.
Yeah.
If he sold Baba about 170, 180, and he bought it back here, the same number of shares, does he have to disclose?
Yes.
He has to disclose his selling and his buying.
Yes.
Okay.
In his whatever form they call it. But
okay.
We've gone to legalize green mail.
Okay. I just want to know that if he could disclose, trading action.
No, they have to disclose their sales and their buys, and of course it doesn't matter because now with technology, the news got out that they bought and everybody bought it. And of course, then they probably sold it and, they didn't have to disclose it yet. So,
okay. We'll look for that disclosure in early January.
Anyways, back to BitQ. Look, there's no point to even look at it right now. I mean, if I were going to take a flyer, I might look at it if it got to 20. I mean, look, I own it and I'm not afraid of it. But again, there's a lot of heartburn when you own these and they just keep going down. Okay. So just be careful if you want to play it. But again, this is a representation of the crypto world. CGC, which again, we have it in one of our portfolios, which we are short. Okay. And we've been short for quite a while, but this is a play on pot. And I think, Andy, we're getting to that point that these companies are all getting ready to go bust.
Yeah. Right? By the way, we've been saying for a long time, if you believe the government's going to legalize, at this point, I'm going to tell you, I don't believe the government's going to do anything with anything. So,
I agree. I think that the theory that I thought, and the reason we cover these is they're burning out. Okay?
Right. The cash burn is brutal.
I mean, they're burning
out. They
out.
can't go to banks for financing. They can't collect money from customers on credit cards. They are operating in a business environment with both hands tied behind their backs. That's a problem.
Right. Agreed, 100%.
And by the way, they're selling a commodity, and just like everyone else who's selling a commodity, their costs are going up.
So again, the only reason you would ever buy this now is just strictly if you want to gamble and you think they're going to legalize. Otherwise, stay away. There's no point.
They're going to survive.
But I don't think they are. I think you were right when you called it a while back. Chewy, Charlie Hotel Whiskey Yankee, which we are still short. And look, it got clobbered. It has come down from 96 down. It got cut in half just about. And maybe it's finding a bottom here. I can't say. We're still short it. But for me, I'd be 50 to 60 in here. Okay. And I'd be looking to sell it. I do own it, but I'd be looking as a trader, I'd be looking to sell it because it's in a pretty nasty downtrend. and we'll see if this rally is worth anything or if it can trigger, but I don't think it will yet. And to me, it would be 50 to 60, but just, again, Andy and I are customers as well. So coin, oh, you go, Volt. Look at what happened here from 370 down to 238. And this is right with, listen,
It's right with Bitcoin.
The bookmaker, Coinbase, there's not a lot of buying going on. They don't make as much money. Again, when the markets are excited, they're turning over dollars. They're making lots of money. Right now, they're not doing so, which is why this directly correlates, because the industry is slower because, listen, everybody's nervous. So
it's amazing. It's kind of dropped percent for percent with Bitcoin.
I agree. Yeah, 100%.
Both of them 30%.
Now we hold no position. We hold a position personally, but we have no algorithm position here. But for my money, I'd be looking at right now 220 to 240.
Yeah.
Okay. And curl F or curl leaf again. I think it's, what was that? Cheech and Chong will be going up in smoke.
Yeah, up in smoke. Yeah,
this looks like it's going up in smoke.
Yeah.
I mean, again, as much as I wanted to believe that the government would do the right thing, there once again, and you can bet your ass that Constellation Brands and Altria and those other tobacco companies and whatever they are now will be heavily involved once this passes.
Absolutely.
And either they're giving them a chance or they're busting these guys out first.
Absolutely. The stocks get cheaping up. You'll see a huge amount of M&A activity, and then magically you'll see Congress make a move.
I agree. And again, look, we don't trade this at all. It's just something.
And it's all being negotiated in the Palm Restaurant in Washington, D.C.
At our expense.
Right.
Okay. And of course, DraftKings, Jim Chanos came out and said it was his biggest short position. And of course, I'm still long and I still like it. But again, we're shorted in the portfolio. So let's be clear. Yeah. Okay. It looks
one of the problems here also is that, this NFL thing isn't going to help this stock. The cancellation of games last weekend and other things, if the variant starts, causing more cancellations of sporting events, that's not good for this stock.
And their biggest problem really is that their acquisition cost is too high for the handle that they take. As I've told you before, bookmaking is not a hugely profitable business unless they can get a big handle. And, they don't make, they're working on 5%. That's the bottom line. And their acquisition cost is gigantic. Again, I still think it's going to be a good play. And, we're going to get New York open here soon and then California. And I think once you get them going, and then Vegas finally has to compete. Now, right now, Vegas still holds a stronghold of these markets, and they don't give, some of the crazy props and things that these outside places that are trying to gather business. But once they open up in Vegas, which I think they will shortly, I think it opens up everybody. And I think it makes it, the business, the industry itself is only growing.
Right.
Okay? It is getting bigger and bigger. So in the meantime, we're shorted.
Everyone loves action.
I think 30 is probably resistance and there is no support right now. Okay. Bass, Foxtrot, Alpha, Sierra. Okay. And of course we're short this and it continues to, come down here. Now, interesting enough that, with the talk of higher rates, it's coming low, it's going lower. I find that a little bit interesting because of course, banks are supposed to do well with higher rates. This is a leveraged ETF on the banks. My guess is here.
It goes back to what I said before about real interest rates. The Fed had a hawkish mask on, but they are very dovish. Anyone who really paid attention to that last Fed meeting, that was a very dovish message they sent.
I would say
they had outs all over the place. Oh, if the variant, we can slow things down, and we're looking for maximum employment. He had all the catchwords there. Be careful.
112 to 120 for now. Okay, we're short. Facebook, Foxtrot, Bravo, took it in the chin today. We're still long it, and again, it's kind of just stuck. It really doesn't change. It's really just stuck like 310 to 345. I mean, that's basically where it's been for 3 months, and that's where it is. Okay. First Solar, they didn't like the Build Back Better America plan. We're still short this. And again, it's breaking down to new levels. Certainly now, I think the mid 70s are in play. And I'd look for this to come down to like 76.
Well, if any stock, really is affected by Manchin, this is one.
Yep. And I think you're probably looking at probably 76 to 88. Okay. And I guess it's a big range, but it's a thin market. It's a wild market. And of course, the volatility would support it. Okay. GDXs, we don't really trade. We kind of keep it just to keep it. And again, this is another way for those who might want to play gold or whatever. It's doing nothing. I mean, it's hovering around 30 and doing very much what it looks very much like what gold looks like. And again, I don't trade it. I never held a position in it, but it is something that, we do cover just to, give other alternatives and other things. And what do you see here? Anything?
No, it's 30-ish seems like the around 30 to 31 seems like the $1,800 level. It's kind of pivoting around there. It's again, dead money.
All right. Dead money walking. And of course, 30s is a number to watch. Goldman, Gulf Sierra, and of course, we're short this as well. And again, it got clobbered again today too. And again, they're starting to run, and it does appear that the winds and the trend could be changing. Now, again, obviously, the new year is coming, and those are usually pretty wild days, and they can go in either direction, and we'll see where it goes. But it looks like we're starting to break down a little bit. It looks like the overall markets are starting to feel the pain of a lousy economy and of the non-transitory inflation and a lot of the policies that are being put in place. And I think the markets are finally starting to feel it. We'll see. Again, we don't know that, but we'll see how it plays out. In the meantime, on Goldman, I would look for 360 to 380. Okay. And IWM, India Whiskey Michael, which we are short. And
this one looks the worst.
I mean, it's down below. And again, now I would say that, probably 214 to 208 to 214 and look for a spot to sell it. That's what I'd be looking for. And Mara, this was just 84. It got cut. And like Bitcoin, this looks like the chart of Bitcoin. Okay. Which makes sense. It's a miner. Okay. And it continues to go down to the toilet. My Bitcoin expert, my Mara expert is here. What do you see here, my friend? Okay. I'm curious. I know you trade it every day, or we're trading it every day. But again, look.
This, by the way, this looks like, double leveraged Bitcoin, because this thing is down 60%.
Correct. But the pattern looks similar, but yes, it is.
Yeah, this is like Bitcoin on steroids.
This is going from 6 to 85 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And look, at the end of the day, it looks pretty bad here. Again, I wouldn't be in a hurry to jump in. I think that the next key level will be 30. Okay. And then of course another pot ETF, which I think I'll probably just get rid of now, because it doesn't look like anything going to happen. And this was just a bigger ETF, and like all the other pot stocks. And this is only here. Again, these are only covered with the thought if anybody thinks that there's going to be legalization, but it looks like we're going to be right, unfortunately. And
these trade like out of the money options with no chance of going to the strike.
Well, I think that's what you have. Unfortunately, this is a very unfortunate case for those who invested in these companies, those who thought these companies were good, because they're getting tormented and tortured.
Hey, Bob, at the end of last year, how many newsletters did you get, emails did you get? Oh, this is the year of pot. This is the year of pot. Make a lot of money, in the pot stocks and all this stuff. I got so many of them. And if I look at the year-on-year performance, they're unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, this is just, again, I hope I'm wrong, because I know a lot of people that are invested in these stocks, but it looks like, unfortunately, it's going to be right that they're going to wait until everybody's ready, and they can either put these people out or buy them for nothing. Okay. NEO, November India Oscar. Okay. And of course, we remain short this, another Chinese, a dog that, electronic vehicles continues to go lower. I would say 30 is resistance. There is no support.
Dangerous to be a dog in China.
Nugget, and again, like gold, it looks crappy. I mean, look.
Yeah, it's gold on steroids. I mean, this one's ugly.
And this is, this decays as well. But I would certainly look at, probably, 48 if I were looking to short it. Now, I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying that's where I would be looking if I were going to do something. NVIDIA, November Victor Delta Alpha, okay, which we are short. And here we are down at some, key support after, a fairly nice pattern, that it had run, and we'd been long for quite a while. And now we were short, and it looks like it wants to go significantly lower. Again, the key is going to be probably 265 if it breaks down from here, but
Yeah.
it certainly looks like it's got the opportunity. It's in what is known as a descending triangle type pattern. If it breaks down here, it could go a lot lower.
Yeah, and it's going to go with the market. The only thing I will say about NVIDIA is that, if this metaverse is going to be a big thing, this is a company that will make those
Metaverse.
chips.
The metaverse. I'm a
But
metaverse.
this is a company that will make those metaverse chips.
Yeah, I'm a metaversing. Meta.
Graphics.
Meta. Let's go to Meta. But again, these are things to look at. Okay, that certainly have things we need to understand, and and then you go to Penn, which is again another gambling stock, which is Barstools, and they're all struggling because again they all have the one issue in common, which is lead acquisition cost is ridiculously high. Okay, now what does that mean overall? Well, it means that they don't make any money. It means that they're losing money and they're making it up with value. That's what it means right now. But they are betting, pardon the pun, on the future that gambling industry is going to continue to grow, and they're going to get more dollars in play, which will make money for all of them, which I do agree. Okay. In the meantime, we are short. Okay, and again, 44 looks like it's pretty important. I go 44 to 50 right now, and the Qs, Quebec, which we are still long now. I would suggest that they're probably going to be short switching tonight. Always when we get to these areas where one side switches, where the ETF switches and the future doesn't, or vice versa, it's usually a timing issue at the way where they trigger, because they have different hours. They have different trading hours where they close, and we go off the closing price of the normal hours, not all the way through extended trading. So my guess is this will probably change tomorrow, but for now we are long at this moment. But I wouldn't anticipate it staying there, and I would assume it'll be short. So I'm gonna make this, 370 to 385, and I'd right now be looking to be a seller, even though we are long, because I do believe that based on the action today and how much it was down, it will reverse. Okay, Riot, again, brutal. Okay, continues to get hammered. Okay, and again, one time this was twice over Mara. Now it's 50% less, and again, 22. I'm looking at $20, and this is another one that came from $6. Okay, and it's just another potential way to play the crypto world. But certainly, I wouldn't be looking to be a buyer here. I mean, we have a position from our option position, which is neutral, which will benefit from either side. But in the meantime,
just a question, Bubba. Where did this close at the end of last year?
I don't know, but I can certainly look.
Yeah, I'm just interested.
Last year, let's see, December 31, it closed at $29. Right there.
29?
Yep. And it went up to 85.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's look again, it looks pretty bad. Now this is very
a year that where Bitcoin's up 60%, 60+%, hasn't done so good.
No. Roku, which we are long. Okay, and again, to me, this does look like it's a nice bottoming pattern. Obviously, I don't like the longer term look, but the short term looks like it may be, building a base. You will start to watch enough charts, and you start to see some opportunity. And we don't project them or we don't predict them, but you can start to see it happening right in front of you. And to me, I look at this from 200 to 240, 260. Okay, and the SPY Sierra Papa Yankee, which we are still long. Again, this is 452 looks to be a must hold. Now again, I don't know if this is an awfully big down move into a couple down moves, so I'm not sure. Again, I don't know what the signals are yet for tomorrow. Okay, otherwise I would tell you, but I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised. So I'm going to leave this be as it is because I'm not as confident that this will reverse as well. In the meantime, I would suggest 450 to 460 would be what I'd be watching, but I would wait before I would make any real call here. Square Dance, Sierra Quebec, which we are short, and it continues to get pumped.
Terrible, huh?
Okay, and again, I said if it got through 200, if you remember, it was going a lot lower, and here it is, and it looks like it just wants to continue to go lower.
I mean, this is
something. Actually, they're called black now, right? Black.
What a move! My God, it's approaching half the value it was in October, rather.
Yeah, I know. Listen,
Unbelievable.
we're shorted from 250, so it continues to get
Yeah,
hammered.
no, this is some move.
And there's no support in sight. I would be looking at
falling knife. This is a falling knife.
170 to be a seller. Okay. Tilray, which is the last of our pot stocks.
Yeah.
Look, they all look just terrible. I can't even in good conscience recommend taking a gamble on these anymore. I probably have to take these off now because they're so pathetic that I don't even see. Now I'm sure that I'm saying this, they'll all explode tomorrow, but I don't see the potential anymore. I think that it's going to turn out the way that Andy laid it out, which is they're going to wait until those big guys are all set up and ready, and they either bust these guys or they bought them out, because there seems to be no hope and a lot of despair in these stocks now. They've really taken to the woodshed. I mean,
yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, if best case, maybe you get a whole bunch of reverse splits.
no, I don't see it.
That's the best.
Right, we just watch 20. Look for 20. Okay. Well, this is not crypto. This is pot. Okay. So, anyways, again, I can't even in good conscience say gamble anymore. Okay. Tango, Quebec. And again, this is one that I'm going to wait on to see. To me, it looks like it broke down through today. But I would, for now, just watch the 140, 150, between 145 and 150, and look for direction from there until I can confirm which way we're going. Tesla, again, it peaked and now it's coming down and it looks pretty bad. Now we don't hold a position in it, but to me, I'm sure it's in a downtrend. And I would say
he sold about how much?
He sold about $10 billion worth of stock, I think, to pay his taxes that he
Yeah,
has.
12 billion worth of stock. Amazing.
To pay his taxes that he doesn't pay.
Right. Right.
Well, Square is much more than just crypto, big boy. Okay. I mean, Square is,
Square is payments. Square is based business. They're like PayPal.
They were in credit card payments long before they ever got involved in crypto. So I think they're probably a pretty solid company, but right now it's just getting hammered. In the meantime, Tesla, again, 960, I'd like to be a seller. I don't trade anymore. I lost enough trying to short this thing. I give up. I throw my hand there. And VXX, which we are short. Okay, again, even when you get some volatility, this doesn't move, and that's the trigger and why you see how we trade. Now, again, preferably, I'd like to be long this. That's the reason I carry it, because when you do get a huge volatile move, this thing will go back to 50. Okay, or they'll reverse split it first. But that's, again, we're shorted because that's the trend and that's how it decays out. But that would be, the only reason I have this in our portfolios is for the reason for it to either when they reverse split it because it goes almost straight down, or when they pop it, it's got a big chance because, of course, we've all seen how the panic of volatility works out. Okay. In the meantime, this is like 20 to 25. Okay. And when Whiskey Yankee, November, which we are still long, and it's kind of at a to me, this is like at a must hold level. Okay. And again, this is in the gambling space too. And this is a brick and mortar. This isn't an app, and they've got apps. So,
it's China. It's got China.
I know at Macau, and again, it's China, and because you wouldn't know in Vegas that there was any problems. Vegas is packed.
Right.
Watch 80 is what I would do. I wouldn't, look, if I didn't trade the portfolios, I wouldn't say that I'd be jumping in here. Okay. I'd be watching it. And XBI, X-Ray Bravo India, this maybe it found a bottom at around 110. It was got to 108 last week. Look, we don't trade this anymore, but to me, this is like 110 to 120. And I would still want to be a seller until it gets through 120. And Zulu Michael, and we are still short. And of course, it did pop off of 180. Again, to me, this is a probably 180. And if it breaks here, it's going much lower. I expect this to act, if it breaks, very much like Square. Okay. But right now it's 180 to 220.
This is such a COVID variant stock, huh?
It is.
It really trades with the news on the it's a way to trade COVID, really.
Well, and a lot of companies did find out that they can use it and not send their people out.
Right,
They
right,
have a lot of land travel. So,
right.
but again,
But if we track the price action,
it was very right.
It did thrive during COVID, and now with the variant, it looks like it kind of bottomed a little bit.
It was very, very much overvalued. So with that, if you guys want me to look at anything, I'll be happy to look at any stocks you want. But we will, if not, we will wish you a very Merry Christmas and a
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone.
And we'll be back in 2 weeks. But I will be happy to look at any of you guys that have any. If not,
2022.
Yep, 2022.
2022. Yeah, it'll be a good year. Yeah, here's what's RIVN.
Maybe RIVN. Romeo, India. Okay. Romeo, India, Victor, November.
Rivian Automotive. Oh, that's the electric
battery maker?
That's the competition for Tesla.
Okay. I mean, obviously, it looks just like Tesla right now. It hasn't been in business that long, but it looks just like Tesla right now. It looks pretty bad. The electric truck maker ready to build. Okay, 2 factories in Georgia.
Yeah.
And cool. Yeah, I mean, look, again, I don't trade anything that's just new. Certainly, I couldn't be a buyer yet, and I'm not looking to be a seller. But certainly, listen, it could be something. I don't know.
So I wouldn't want to have bought it at 180.
LNG.
Yeah, that's Cheniere Energy. Cheniere Energy.
Yeah, Cheniere Energy is right. I used to trade that once upon a time.
That's been a hot stock. That's been a hot stock.
It's kind of coming down. I mean, obviously, I think I was trading it when it was in the 50s or less.
Oh yeah.
This looks to me, it looks weak at the moment. I mean, overall,
natural gas prices,
it looks okay. I mean, look, if I were going to buy it, I'd be looking for about 95. If I'm going to sell it, I'd be looking like at 105. Okay. It doesn't look great here, but again, I'm not really interested in getting into too many things, at this time of year. I'd rather let, the year go by. As I said, normally when I was a floor trader, I wouldn't even be trading this time of year. Okay. So I don't see a hell of a lot to do here. But it doesn't look bad. They've come from, like I said, I think 30 or whatever in the long run. And Fusilli pasta. Where's Jerry?
That was on last night. I saw that last night. Billy Jerry.
Okay. I mean, this looks pretty crappy. Well, that can't be right.
This is 76.
I forgot. I missed the letter. I knew I did something wrong.
That's a 76-cent stock.
Yeah. No, I missed the letter. I missed the L. There you go. I mean, this was a high flyer, and now it's a dog. Okay. I mean, again, is it a buy? I couldn't buy it here yet. I need some proof that it was actually found the bottom, but certainly it's a hell of a lot cheaper than it was. I think wasn't it over 100 at one time? Yeah. I mean, this is not a pattern that I'm looking to step into. Okay.
Well, that's ugly.
No, pretty ugly is right. All right, kids.
ISRG, you're getting one more.
Interactive Surgical. Yeah, Interactive Surgical, whatever they are. And ISRG, right?
Yeah.
India Sierra Romeo Golf, and that's, I don't know, that was about 320. Okay. It looks okay. I mean, it looks like it's in consolidation like many other things. I can make a case for either. If I were going to buy it, I'd look at the 320 level. Okay. I'm not looking to sell it. It's too thin for me. But it's something to look at. They got something new coming out. You got some secret for me? Huh? I mean, you're always in the know. I want to know. You got a secret for me? Should I be buying? Okay. In the meantime, again, look, this is not a time to be active. I think that you just have to be very cautious in here. Obviously, you're hedging. You don't do anything. You follow the hedging models and let them do their thing. If you're day trading with me, then obviously we talk about it when we're trading. But overall, it'd be a great time to take some time off, relax, maybe study a little bit, get yourself prepared, because I don't expect much. And I know it's easy to get trapped in a market when it is acting like this. So I leave that up to you. Andy, as always, thank you. And to everybody,
Merry Christmas and
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Make it a good one. Be healthy, be safe, and we'll see you. I guess we'll see you next year. Yep. All right, kids. Have a great one. Thank you all. We'll see you later.